Good afternoon, West and the world. Welcome to your review video for Thursday, January the 23rd, following the continuation this morning of our two lectures on the Protestant Reformation. The lecture this morning had a number of themes and covered an awful lot of ground. So let me try to offer just a few key things to recall or to focus in on. The first is that you want to make sure that you're able to distinguish between the different branches of the Reformation. Today we talked about three more in addition to Lutheranism: Anabaptists, the Calvinists, and the English Reformation, or the Anglican tradition. And we said that 3 out of 4 of these Protestant traditions are rooted in theological distinctives, whereas, of course, the Anglican tradition comes primarily out of the concern for dynastic politics and the preservation of the line of the House of Tudor on the part of Henry VIII. The second theme that we explored was the question of Catholic reform. What are Catholics making of the problems their church is dealing with in the 16th century? And we said that there are two sort of ways of thinking about this. On the one hand, there are those who are loyal to the church and working to change it from within. Those are people like Teresa of Avila and Ignatius of Loyola and the work that they represented. On the other hand, there is another branch of the Catholic response that is pretty clearly a strong conservative reaction against the challenge of Protestantism, that attempts to sort of dig its heels into the ground and say, no, we're not changing in response to the criticisms that have come up. The best example of that, of course, was found at the Council of Trent, but also in the form of the Inquisition, which is charged with enforcing orthodoxy, theological orthodoxy in Europe in this time. Then our third theme, the last issue that we explored this morning, was the outbreak of the wars of religion. And we talked about two examples, that of the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre and that of the defeat of the Spanish Armada. In both cases, of course, we're talking about sort of small examples that could be multiplied many, many times over. And what I hope that you heard, although I may not have expressed it as clearly as I ought to, is that there is an emerging conflict or an emerging tension related to politics and primarily political questions that are beginning to inform more and more these dynamics or these tensions over religion. That these things are not separated in neat categories in any way during this time period. What we're going to see in next week is that the concerns of politics, the concerns of the state, are going to become increasingly prevalent over questions of religious identity, questions of religious conflict, as new priorities and new powerful figures begin to emerge. That will be the substance of much of our discussion next week. Enjoy your weekend. See you on Tuesday.